Hello and welcome to Reality Unmasked. Thank you for being here. This is the channel by a poor man to give a voice for the poor people at the sharp end of wealth inequality. Inequality that will soon see me homeless due to inefficient, badly designed housing policies that produce more homeless and more boarded up houses. Gary Stevenson, trader, millionaire, event speaker, activist. What's Gary Stevenson's game? His motivation? Is he a hero, jealous, or just a selfish asshole trying to just make more money or get a political career? Opinion on Gary is divided into three main camps. 1. He's a hero trying to save humanity from having their living standards collapse. 2. He's a jealous man seeking to make people richer than him a lot poorer, so he can feel big, just like in the Aesop tale of the frog and the ox. 3. He's a lying, selfish charlatan that is fronting up so he can promote his book and whatnot, just to make more money and get public exposure so that he can get into politics and make himself even more money, becoming one of the people he's speaking against. So let's have a look at Gary. I've spent many hours watching not just his vids, but almost every podcast or show he's been on. Gary Stevenson has nowadays become fairly famous with his stance on wealth inequality, despite being quite well off himself. In his book and interviews he's done with several media and podcasters, he describes the life of a man that, once achieving monetary success as an economist working as a trader for Citibank, underwent a transformative period in his life where his conscience battled the instinct of greed and wealth accumulation. Detailed in his book are the events that he experienced during this transitional period, where he also learned Japanese and developed love for their culture. Personally speaking, I also love Japanese culture, and the attempt they have made to counteract the effects of wealth inequality, societal corruption and character destruction, albeit they haven't been 100% successful. One of the things that really left an impression on me was the period where he had finally decided he couldn't bear looking at himself in the mirror without trying to do something to stop the growing darkness falling upon humanity, where he lived in an empty apartment with just a mattress and minimal things, bike riding around the Japanese streets, thinking of just wanting to get out of the role he was in. All the while, the higher-ups were trying to dissuade him from quitting, knowing he can still make them more money, just as before when they exploited his intelligence for the wrong gain. Why? Why would the higher-ups not want him to quit or even fire him and get him out of their company? Gary revealed there was a monetary benefit based on which way he left the company. He would have received a certain amount of money accrued for his services in the form of deferred bonuses and stock incentives. Quitting would mean forfeiting this. And as is natural for anyone, he describes his thoughts. Why should I let him win? I earned that money. And he had also paid a price beyond just his work hours, his dignity, integrity, and self-respect. It's a common misconception in our Western world that by getting someone out of the company brutally and quickly, it insulates the rest of the company from the bad apple. Bosses are very quick to point the finger and claim that it's the bad apple's fault for being fired or in general losing his job, and must be made an example of, like an infected limb cut from the body. The underlying reality is the manipulation of mindset for the other employees, so they too develop the idea of, if you get fired, it's your fault because you did something wrong. This ideology runs rampant in our Western society and held up to be truth in fact. The other side of that coin is that bosses don't want to see morale decrease. If you were quite liked in your company and people had developed a standing relationship with you already, it could impact them to see you being treated unfairly and given the boot. The unmasked reality is they don't want someone around others that could affect their productivity by talking to people and affecting the worldview imposed by their masters and the rigged system, i.e. not affect the profits. Perhaps one of the juniors at Gary's work put it best. During a lunch, that the topic of conversation came up briefly on a supervisor within the department. According to Gary, this young fella made the statement that this gentleman had a very small heart. In Japan, they tried to address this wrong mentality by bringing in anti-firing laws to ensure not only morale upheld, but also that younger generations felt they were being cared for by the system and had jobs provided. A very smart approach to try and avoid social decay, structural degradation, and risk potential upheaval and open rebellion. It might not have proven 100% effective, but it's still a step further than a Western style of brutal civility. Getting back to Gary, during his time in Japan, undergoing this period where he felt like he needed to follow his spirit and the path laid out before him, he could have hated Japan altogether. Yet he instead saw the good and pure things that were worth fighting for, things that inspired his understanding, the collective spirit of the human race. Many will question my assertion and say, "Hang on, pal, you never even met Gary. How the fuck can you possibly know? You claiming you have psychic abilities or something?" Yes, if only that were true, since if I had psychic abilities, I would have long ago been able to affect my life to the better and be a millionaire myself. No, I simply know because I had a very similar path to come to this point in my life, albeit that I was in a different field, but one that was also math heavy, engineering. Similar minds that are wired the same will have the same synaptic reasoning. Kind of like the old proverb, great minds think alike. Just like Gary, I love video games that are complex and require in-depth mathematical analysis, have lots of things to keep track of, and immerse you in a world where choices have far-reaching impact. For example, Elysium, Elder Scrolls Morrowind, and Crusader Kings. The difference is, unlike Gary, I was not successful enough to guarantee myself financial and asset security, and is now living on the edge of very precarious circumstances. But we'll come back to that in another video. Perhaps the doubt raised by media personalities or those that protect the rich is making you indecisive on making a judgment on Gary's true intentions. So ask yourself 3 questions. 1. He's got his future secured and could be drinking pina coladas every day by a private pool or the beach. So why would he risk himself? His sanity. He's standing in those rich circles. 2. Most people are programmed to think that by becoming a politician, one can serve the people, something that many are pushing Gary to do. But this is the classic way to shut up noisy, popular people, put them in a control position of government, and snuff out their influence via the control of the system by the ultra-wealthy, tied up in bureaucracy. If Gary was a charlatan seeking more power, why is he firmly resisting this? 3. Depressed people don't want to be put in a high-pressure situation. It crumbles them. Does Gary seem bright and shiny to you lately? I'll leave you with this thought. In my opinion, Gary is a hero. Perhaps he'll one day be known as I affectionately call him Gary Man, like Superman. But remember, he's just one man, and his wealth here is above the common people who are struggling. which comes with inherent limits and obstacles. He's a symbol, yes. And he's needed at the front, sure. But in the end, it's up to us to band together to make a new age. Thank you for watching. I do all my own recording and editing work. If you feel you got some value out of my videos, please help support this channel by liking and subscribing. If it's successful, I'll add Patreon a bit later on. See you next time on Reality Unmasked.